Hey guys, it's me again. I decided to create one more project for section 3 in addition to the two examples I gave for method parameters and constructors. Real quick, I just want to mention that in the previous videos for parameters and constructors, I had been talking about them like they were part of section 2. Obviously, according to the course, these are part of section 3. So sorry about that. I had them in the section 2 solution before, but now I have them all in the right place. So the parameters, constructors are in the section 3 solution. That's what the section 3 assignment topic is, method parameters and constructors. And this last example, this third example, is geared towards a more complicated and hopefully a little more fun code, some more code to look at for, as an example of method parameters and constructors with some more meaningful context instead of just dry, meaningless examples. So let's see if you guys like this or not. I called it fighting objects. There's not really any fighting involved. I didn't know what it was going to be when I named it. So I started off with the concept of good guys and bad guys. So let me show you my main program. So you can see right off the bat, my main program is very short. And you can, without really even knowing what's going on, you can kind of get an idea of what this program is doing. So it looks like I've created three good guys, so three protagonists from Harry Potter. Apparently Harry has some type of value of 999, Hermione 200, and Ron 100. And there's three villains, or bad guys, Voldemort, Bellatrix, and Draco. And those people also have some numbers associated with them. And then at the bottom, you can see that people are stealing things from each other, and looks like Harry captured Bellatrix and then gave some stuff to Hermione and Ron. So we can see the semantic overall idea of what this program is doing, but we don't know the details of how it's doing it. So this is what analysis of methods and constructors is all about, is taking a look at how they're being invoked from the outside and then looking inside to see the details of what's going on. So before I actually get into the whole program, I want to mention that I have this show class. So there's a lot of output going on in my program, and without looking into the gory details yet, I just want to show you, I'm going to run the program really quick just to show you something. So you can see I have like all my output in these pretty boxes that have like, a space and then a vertical bar and another space and then some padding. So I wanted to do that stuff, but it really makes the code ugly. So I hid a lot of that code in reusable methods in my show class. So we're going to be getting into that. I might as well talk about it right off the bat. So first of all, you can see I have this static method called formatted, and what that will do is it will take any string, it'll put a period after it, and then it will surround it by these two bars, and it will put padding in between the last character of the string and the rightmost bar. So this pad right is a .NET method that comes out of the box. You can call that on any string. There's a lot of methods like that on strings, and that pad right, that's how I get this variable amount of space after every sentence, and that's why these rightmost bars all line up. So I have that formatted static method that I use. That's the only place in the whole program where I use system console writeline. So I never print anything without using this formatted method. So that, I think, just, and also you can see like there's some horizontal dividers on the screen, like at the bottom and in the middle and at the top here. And for that, I have a simple horizontal divider method that just does a system console writeline, just plain old string that prints that. So I just want you to know off the bat before we get into the details that that show class is there, and it's pretty much handling all of the output to the console, because I didn't want to mess up my code by putting all that ugliness in there. So this is my main program. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at line 9. So obviously the first thing we did on line 7 is we showed the horizontal divider. I'm going to put a breakpoint here on line 9, and I'm going to run my program. So it executed line 7, which obviously printed the literal string of that horizontal divider. And now we're about to execute line 9. So what's going to happen? We're going to invoke the constructor of a class called goodGuy, because we're going to create a goodGuy. And the constructor, as we can see, has two parameters, the first one being a string and the second one being a number. And so just remember that we're passing the values of Harry Potter and 999 as we dive into this. So I'm going to use the buttons here, step into. So I'm going to step into the constructor. So at this point I'm creating a brand new goodGuy, and I'm passing Harry Potter and 999. So notice that here at the top of the class we get pretty much an idea of what is a goodGuy. A goodGuy is an object that has a name and an amount of money. Okay, so they're not really fighting, they're really like playing with money. Maybe they're playing Monopoly. So the name is currently null and the money is currently 0. So the purpose of this constructor, you can see with these next three lines, well, we can kind of guess what that's going to do. We're going to take the name Harry Potter and we're going to set that on our object so that from now on the name of our object is going to be Harry Potter. And then line 18 is going to take that value of 999 and set that to our member variable money. So from now on this object is going to have 999 money. But this creation message, we're not sure because we didn't look at that yet. We do know that it's a static method on the show class, but we don't know exactly what it's going to do. So let's go ahead and step over, and now we're going to step into this method. It's a static method on the show class. The first parameter that we're passing is Harry Potter. Second parameter is the amount of money. I'm going to dive into that. So it's going to take the name and the amount, and it's going to create this string, which will be Harry Potter has been created and has 999. And of course, we just looked at show formatted, so that's going to add a period to the end. It's going to surround it by the vertical bars, and it's going to print it out all nice and pretty. So we'll skip over that. Step over. I can actually step into this just to show you this happening once. So now we've stepped into the formatted method, and that's going to take our output, which is Harry Potter has been created and has 999. We are going to append a period to that. So now it's Harry Potter has been created and has 999 period. And now it's going to come over here and it's going to print out our beautiful formatted version, concatenated with some vertical bars on each side and some padding. So if I execute that line, then we see our nice Harry Potter has been created and it has 999. So that's pretty simple. I'm going to keep going with, let's see, step over. So now we're back to the creation message. Our show formatted is complete. We're going to step back over that. That method is complete. We're back to the constructor. So all of that, the entire line 16 facilitated this line being printed out. It had to jump through a couple of methods because of all the formatting that I did, but you can kind of follow how it works. And if not, then that's not the biggest deal. These two next lines are important because we're taking the values that were passed to the constructor and we're going to set them to this object's name and amount of money. So remember, I'm a goodGuy. I'm being created because I'm in the constructor, and currently you can see that value, which is the first parameter, has the right value, and that value, which is the second parameter, has the value. But this object that I'm inside right now, my values are not set yet. My member variable values are not set yet. So this is the important part. Once this constructor is finished, once we hit the end of the constructor, these two parameters are done and they'll go away forever. But these are the two things that we want to be set because those stick around forever. The aspects of the object, the member variable values on the object. So as we step over these two lines, we see now this dot name now has the correct value, and now we see this dot money has the correct value. So this stuff inside of the object is what we were trying to set, and now we've accomplished that. These two can go away, the two parameters, the constructor is done, and we're back to the main program. So this first line of code accomplished exactly what it was trying to do. You can see everything, all these other things that we're going to do, all these other objects are still null. However, this first one, we created Harry, and his name is Harry Potter, and he's got money 999. And in addition to creating the object, we also had a printout because that was chained into the constructor. So again, we can kind of go through this a little faster this time. For Hermione, we'll dive in there, and again, here we are again inside of the person class, or sorry, the good guy class, but this time we have Hermione and 200. So that show creation message is going to be different. It's going to say Hermione Granger has been created and has 200. And it's going to set her, this is a different object now, so it's going to set this object's values to the correct ones. Now that this constructor is over, we go back to the main program, and Hermione's all good. So now we have Harry and Hermione. So as you can see, these constructors for the good guys pretty much are all doing the same thing, because it's reusing the code in the constructor that we wrote. Same thing if we just skip over this line 11, which is doing the same exact thing for Ron with 100. Now we have an object for Ron that has Ron and 100, and also we got a third printout. Now the bad guys are almost exactly the same as the good guys in this program, almost. Let's dive in and see what's different. So I'm going to step into line 13, the invocation of the bad guy constructor, taking the values of Tom Riddle and 800. So actually, as far as we can tell up here, there's absolutely no difference. A bad guy is also an object that has a name and an amount of money, and the constructor is doing the same exact thing as the good guy constructor was doing. It shows a creation message, and then it sets the name and the amount of money. So actually all 6 of those constructors pretty much do the same thing. We got objects, 6 objects, all of them have names and amounts of money, and we got a creation message for each one of them. Line 17 is going to show another horizontal divider. Step over that, and you can see now we have a horizontal divider. So now comes the interesting stuff. Voldemort.steal Harry, 200. So what does that mean? Well, Voldemort is an object of type bad guy. So that means that steal must be a method on the bad guy class. In addition to that, it's a method that takes 2 parameters. The first one being, well, what type is Harry? Harry is a good guy. And the second parameter is a number. So, all in all, a bad guy apparently is able to steal from a good guy and a number. So all bad guys can invoke a method called steal as long as the first parameter is a good guy and the second parameter is a number. And if I dive into this by looking at the definition, it will confirm that. So now I'm inside the bad guy class, and he's got a method on him called steal, and this reads in English, hey, you give me a good guy and an amount and I'll steal. It makes sense because bad guys steal from good guys, right? So right now, the important thing to remember is, as always, when you are invoking these methods, you are inside of an object. There's a few ways you can verify this. You can scroll up to the top and take a look at your member variables. I'm Tom Riddle, and I have 800. Or if you don't feel like scrolling, you could just expand this in your locals, and you can see I'm Tom Riddle and I have 800. So right now, yes, I'm invoking the steal method, but I also am an object. I am basically, the Voldemort object. I am Tom Riddle. So, and in addition to that, the second part is the parameters. So these are basically your targets or your inputs. And the good guy that Tom Riddle has been given to steal from is, if we expand this a little, Harry Potter, who has 999 money. So Voldemort is about to steal something from Harry Potter. And what is he about to steal? He's about to steal 200. So this .money, which is Voldemort's money, is increased by 200. So Tom Riddle is going to get an extra 200. So let's step over that and watch it happen. Keep an eye on my money. So my money just went up from 800 to 1,000. And now good guy, who is Harry Potter, is about to lose that same amount. Makes sense because Voldemort stole it. So I'm going to actually expand Harry Potter here. Harry Potter's got 999. This line of code is going to deduct from him that amount that was stolen. So now he has 799. And now we have another message. Like I said, I didn't want any console output to muddy or dirty my code, so I put it in here. So let's dive into there. The steal message does a show formatted, and it says the bad guy stole some amount from this good guy. And notice I'm passing the entire location or reference or address or pointer to, whatever you want to call it, of the bad guy and good guy objects. So I'm saying, hey, I want you to display a message about something being stolen. Here's the bad guy that stole it. Here's the good guy that got stolen from, and here is the amount that got stolen. And the show methods handle all the dirty work, all the heavy lifting. So they say, okay, the bad guy, I know his name because you gave me him, and I print out this message. So, just to reinforce the idea of method parameters being something you need, I can't just tell this class, hey, print the steal message, and then that's it. Because it's not going to know who's the bad guy, what's their name, who's the good guy, what's their name, what was the amount that was stolen. Those are things that need to be told or given to this method in order for it to do its job. So I'm not inside of an instance object right here. I am on the show class. So static methods, usually you see a lot more parameters on them because they don't have immediate access to the variables that are on an instance object. So, when you're a bad guy or a good guy and you have a method being called, you have immediate access to all of your own personal information, like we talked about before. But this static method here, steal message, it doesn't have anything. So anything we need to give it. So in order to print out this steal message, it needs to know who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, and how much is being stolen. So it shows that. And then just to be nice, we want to know, okay, so what? Somebody stole something from somebody else. Well, how much do they have now? So I have this show money function that, if you scroll down here, that's actually this one, it will say so-and-so now has a total of whatever. And the way I'm calling it actually is by using these two methods. So either I call this one and I give him a good guy, or I call this one and I give him a bad guy, and either way, all those two methods are calling this one. So this is the one actually calling show formatted, which in turn calls console.writeline. But these two give me a one parameter easier access instead of having to say, from the outside, instead of saying show.money, goodguy.name, comma, goodguy.money. That's annoying. So it's much easier to say show.money and then just give the good guy. So by having these three methods here, it's a little better design because it's easier to use the methods then. So I know some of you asked me to give some design ideas. Well, there's one place where you can make your life easier by taking methods that do similar things and having them share one method. So notice these are all private. I'm not calling these from anywhere except inside of the show class. Alright, so it chains through some methods and it does some output. Big deal. It says bad guy stole from good guy, and now this is how much money good guy or bad guy has, and now this is how much money good guy has. So continuing on, boom, boom, boom. So those are those three show messages. You can see it says Tom Riddle stole 200 from Harry Potter. Tom Riddle now has a total of 1,000. Harry Potter now has a total of 799. So those three messages are what we got from that one invocation of steal message. So bad guy steal takes a good guy and the amount, adds that amount to himself, subtracts that amount from the good guy he just stole from, and then prints stuff out to the screen. Now Voldemort is going to steal from Draco. I'm going to dive into that. So now I'm inside of the bad guy class because I'm Voldemort. Voldemort was the one who is doing the stealing. But look, it's a different method. This was the one that we were in before because we were stealing from a good guy. Now we're down here because we're stealing from a bad guy. It's really doing the same exact thing though. It's just a different type, so we need a different method. So I'm gaining money, the other bad guy that I'm stealing from is losing money, and then I show a message on the screen. So again, let's watch our values being changed. So Voldemort got richer, Draco got poor, and then we should get 3 messages on the screen. Tom Riddle stole 200 from Draco. Tom Riddle now has a total of 1,200. Draco now has a total of 200. That method's done. Back to the main program. Now Bellatrix is going to steal poor Draco's remaining 200. So I'm going to dive into that. Actually, we can just skip over that because we know it's doing the same exact thing. Bellatrix stole 200 from Draco. Bellatrix now has 800, and Draco now has 0. Okay, so we're almost done. 3 more invocations, and then we're all done. So now Harry is going to capture Bellatrix. We don't know what that means. So let's dive into this method. Before we dive in, remember, Harry is the one invoking the method, so we're going to be inside of the Harry object, and it's going to invoke a capture, and the parameter that we're going to give to the Harry Potter object is this Bellatrix. So, dive in. So here we are. Keep an eye on your locals. This is Harry Potter. The one parameter that we passed is a reference to Bellatrix. So what's going to happen here? First, we're going to hold on to a variable that says how much money does Bellatrix have. And that amount is 800. Then we're going to add that amount to Harry. And then we're going to set the bad guy's money to 0. So apparently, capturing a bad guy completely takes their money and gives it all to the good guy. That's a good thing, because the good guy should win. And the show captured message you're going to find is very similar to the other things that we did. It says there was a good guy, there was a bad guy, and there was an amount. So print out a nice formatted version of so-and-so captured so-and-so and got this amount, and then show how much money they have left over. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, and we get 3 messages. Harry captured Bellatrix Lestrange and got 800. Harry now has a total of 1,599, and Bellatrix has a 0. So now we're done with the capture method. And one more method. I won't go through both of them because they're doing the same thing. So Harry's going to be nice, and he's going to give Hermione 400. So again, we're going to be inside the Harry Potter object, and we're going to, while inside, have a reference to Hermione, and we're going to know the value of 400. It's going to dive into give. So we are Harry Potter. The parameter that we have access to is Hermione. So the other good guy in this case is Hermione with 200. And we're going to give her 400. So as I step through this, the first line is going to increase Hermione's money by 400. It's going to decrease Harry's money by 400. It's going to show a give message. I'll just dive into this once. So the give message it's just another version of the same thing. There's a giver, a receiver, and an amount. Boom, boom, boom. So here we have Harry gave 400 to Hermione. Harry has a total of 1199. Hermione now has a total of 600. So good guys are getting richer. Back to the main program after all of that, and now Harry's going to do the same thing and give Ron that amount. And I will just dive into this really quick so we can see that this is still Harry, but the other is now Ron. So the other good guy is Ron Weasley with 100. Ron's going to get 400. Harry's going to lose 400. And we're going to show those 3 messages and get back to the main program. We can see Harry gave 400 to Ron, and Ron now has 500. Most money he's ever had in his life. One more horizontal divider, and we're done. So that's everything. That's the whole program. So again, it's the same concepts that we were talking about in the last 2 lectures, especially the methods having parameters, and from the main program, there's multiple objects calling different methods. So keep track of which object is calling the method. What are the values that are being passed to that object? Dive into the methods. Know what object you are, know what values you've been passed, so you can understand what's happening in that invocation. A lot of people, they just write their code and they run it and they say it's broken, I don't know what to do. Well, you have to debug through it one step at a time. You have to dive into every method and pay attention to every detail. So, if you come to me and you say, Donnie, it's broken, it's not working, and I don't know why, and I ask you if you debugged it yet, and you say no, then I'm going to say debug it, just to save you some time of asking me. And I think that's pretty much it. I think I might have to do one more example in this, because we have like 3 weeks for this section 3 and the topics, and why not? But we have quite a bit of time, so I'm probably not going to do it tonight. So for now, I'll just leave this here. I'm going to put this up on GitHub, and I'll put this video on YouTube, and we can, I think after our first and second class discussion, I'll know what more you want to see. Maybe I'll write something more complicated and more fun. And but I hope this helps at least a little bit understanding better constructors and method parameters. Alright, that's all for now. I will see you guys later.